knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense.
Shannon needed to have some accountability because he gave them something to shake down. He gave them something to target by making poor choices.
And she says that she alleges that the was brutal, like it was very it was aggressive.
What happens when a titan falls? When an empire built on grit, sweat, and unfiltered honesty suddenly finds itself facing accusations so dark they threaten to erase decades of legacy. Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer the voice millions tune into, is now staring down a legal nightmare that could cost him everything, starting with a staggering $50 million claim. But the money might be the least of his worries.
Busby and this young woman got audio, video, and text messages. If you know all of those things are out there, you should shut the F up. I'm not here to speak to Shannon's guilt or innocence because I don't know, but I do know attempting to settle looks like an admission of guilt because I'm not settling.
The tremors started on a seemingly ordinary morning, but the airwaves weren't just carrying traffic reports. A bombshell was dropped live on a major morning show. News broke that court documents had been filed accusing Shannon Sharpe of serious misconduct. The plaintiff, a woman significantly younger, reportedly 22 now, having allegedly started a relationship with the 56-year-old Sharpe when she was just 19, wasn't just asking for an apology. She was demanding $50 million in damages for alleged acts related to SA, sending immediate shockwaves through listeners. The revelation framed it not just as news, but as a potential reputation implosion for one of sports media's biggest stars. The airwaves crackled, not just with static, but with the weight of the situation. This explosive financial demand, however, was merely the opening salvo in a battle threatening the very core of Sharpe's carefully constructed world.
I know one thing. If you're 54, you have no reason to be talking to a 19-year-old. She's 22 now. Shannon is 56. I'm so glad that audio of Monique went viral yesterday.
Shannon Sharpe built his brand on authenticity. From a difficult childhood in Georgia to NFL Hall of Fame glory and YouTube superstardom, his narrative was compelling precisely because it felt real. He was unfiltered, opinionated, and seemingly transparent. However, as commentators quickly pointed out, that very authenticity, that loud self-assurance, makes you a beacon, but it also paints a massive target on your back. The louder you are, the faster the critics mobilize when vulnerability appears. News of the lawsuit instantly triggered alarm bells in the corporate world. Modern endorsement deals often contain vague moral turpitude clauses, escape hatches for brands wanting to flee controversy the moment it trends. Reports quickly surfaced from ad buying circles. Agencies were already whispering about pausing campaigns, pulling live reads, hitting the eject button before the first spark could ignite a PR wildfire. Sharpe's brand, once seemingly bulletproof, was suddenly facing a potential freefall, all because the allegations struck at the heart of the trust he'd cultivated. As sponsors nervously eyed the situation, deeply disturbing details began to surface about the alleged events that led to this crisis.
Because it's true. Sit your old down and go find somebody your age and build a family with them. As I said yesterday, men, we need stability and we need discipline.
The court filings weren't just hinting at wrongdoing, they were painting a grim picture. Details emerged suggesting the allegations spanned a 2-year relationship and involved multiple incidents. The language used to describe the alleged encounters was stark, brutal, aggressive. Reports indicated the plaintiff claimed she was threatened by Sharpe, allegedly told she'd be harmed if she spoke out. The most shocking details included allegations of non-consensual acts, specifically referencing being anally essayed twice in a manner described as exceptionally brutal. The lawsuit reportedly detailed claims of reputational harm, severe emotional turmoil, and even loss of income stemming from the alleged relationship and its fallout. These weren't minor accusations, they were claims of profound violation and control, adding layers of darkness to the public persona Sharpe projected. While the graphic nature of these claims shocked many, the legal arena where this battle would unfold operates under a very different set of rules than a criminal trial.
Now, this woman is alleging that Shannon Sharpe her multiple times over the course of a 2-year relationship. The relationship that they had was civil.
It's crucial to understand this is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case. Shannon Sharpe isn't facing jail time based on these specific filings. However, the standard of proof here is dramatically different and in some ways more perilous for a public figure's reputation and finances. In civil court, the jury doesn't need certainty beyond a reasonable doubt. They operate on the preponderance of evidence. Put simply, that means just 51% certainty. Believing it's more likely than not that the allegations are true is enough to find Sharpe liable. A 51% nudge could legally validate the claims and trigger that massive $50 million payout, or some other substantial sum. In today's world, legal experts emphasize that evidence often isn't found in sworn testimony alone, but in the digital breadcrumbs we all leave behind: emails, text messages, phone logs, location data. These digital ghosts can make or break a case, providing a trail that lawyers will meticulously follow. And adding immense complexity to this digital trail was the sudden explosive mention of video evidence, shrouded in conflicting narratives.
Because at that point she said that they were in a they were in an actual relationship. They were in Vegas together. So when that happened, she had already kind of been, in this thing where he's verbally abusive, allegedly, but she thought that they were together.
Fueling the firestorm was the revelation, reportedly coming from the plaintiff's attorney, Tony Busby, that evidence exists: audio, video, and text messages. Then came the counter-narrative. Reports surfaced that Shannon Sharpe's team was suggesting a key video had been altered, deceptively edited to portray a consensual encounter as non-consensual. The plaintiff's attorney flatly rejected this, reportedly calling Sharpe's side liars and insisting the video was real, adding it hadn't even been formally referenced in the initial filing until Sharpe's team allegedly breached a mediation confidentiality agreement. Perhaps the most telling detail? These parties weren't strangers suddenly thrust into litigation. Reports indicated that communication between the plaintiff's counsel and Sharpe's team had been ongoing since February, long before the lawsuit became public. Mediation had apparently been attempted. This suggests Sharpe's camp knew a storm was brewing, knew these allegations existed, and potentially tried to resolve the matter behind closed doors before it exploded into public view. The choice of attorney also sparked discussion, hinting at a high-stakes, aggressive legal strategy from the plaintiff's side. While the lawyers maneuvered and sparred over the alleged evidence, the public, armed with snippets and speculation, began drawing its own battle lines.
He tells her and threatens her allegedly to say that he will her if she ever does that again. But the part of it, she says that she was allegedly anally twice and that it was very, very brutal.
The moment the news broke, the court of public opinion convened instantly, globally, and chaotically. Shannon Sharpe's vast online following fractured. Die-hard defenders rushed to social media, armed with testimonials about his character, his philanthropy, his journey. They pointed to his on-air persona as proof of his integrity. Simultaneously, skeptics and critics seized on the allegations, amplifying the disturbing details, questioning the age gap, and dissecting past statements through a newly suspicious lens. Online forums and comment sections transformed into makeshift mock trials. As often happens, clip culture thrived, slicing complex narratives into easily digestible, often misleading short snippets. Nuance evaporated, leaving audiences chewing on outrage rather than substance. Character witnesses, like a former colleague who publicly defended Sharpe's professionalism, offered one perspective, but history shows that while valuable, testimonials often crumble against hard documentary evidence if discovered. The intense public scrutiny and the division it created undoubtedly placed immense psychological pressure on Sharpe, whose career thrives on audience connection and approval. His carefully curated legacy was now under siege, facing a volatile mix of loyalty and condemnation. With his reputation dangling precariously and millions potentially on the line, the path forward branched into several uncertain high-stakes directions.
She says that she was allegedly anally twice and that it was very, very brutal. She alleges the last incident happened January 2025.
Where does this devastating situation lead? Several possibilities loom, each carrying profound consequences. A quick settlement could end the public spectacle, but it rarely satisfies anyone. Critics would scream hush money, implying guilt, while loyal fans might claim vindication, arguing Sharpe paid simply to avoid a protracted, costly fight. Brands, however, might remain hesitant until the ink truly dries and public sentiment settles. Alternatively, this could descend into a long, bruising legal war. Discovery processes could unearth more damaging details, texts, emails, deposition videos, potentially leaking into the public domain, providing endless fodder for gossip columns and further eroding Sharpe's image regardless of the final verdict. The legal fees alone would be astronomical. Sharpe could also go on the offensive, launching a countersuit for defamation, turning the tables but locking himself into an even longer, more expensive, and potentially uglier battle. Network executives and major platforms are undoubtedly watching closely, weighing sponsor anxieties against Sharpe's star power. Temporary benching, a shift to less visible platforms, or even contract termination aren't out of the question depending on how the initial stages of discovery unfold and how public opinion solidifies. The next moves, legal, personal, and professional, will be critical in determining whether Shannon Sharpe can salvage his career and reputation, or if this marks an irreversible downfall. Yet, this deeply personal and public crisis resonates far beyond the fate of one celebrity.
The fact that if this is true, right, why would she go grab Tony Busby as the lawyer?
Yeah, if you want to be taken seriously, you don't go get Tony Busby.
As the story exploded, the role of the media itself came under scrutiny. Figures within the industry acknowledged their power as narrative accelerants. Every headline, every social media post, every talk show segment shapes public perception, often long before any formal legal findings. The challenge becomes walking a razor-thin line, informing the public versus fueling speculation, reporting allegations accurately versus inadvertently cementing them as fact. There's immense pressure to feed the public's hunger for information, especially in the age of instant updates. Yet, commentators urge caution, emphasizing the critical importance of using terms like alleged not as mere punctuation, but as a mandatory safeguard against premature judgment. The rise of clip culture further complicates things, reducing complex situations to easily shareable, often out-of-context sound bites that can warp understanding. This case became a real-time test of journalistic ethics versus the relentless demand for clicks and engagement, highlighting the difficult balance between speed and responsibility. While the media grappled with how to report the story responsibly, the case itself highlighted broader societal patterns and historical echoes.
I reached out to Attorney Busby and I asked him, first of all, did this happen? Did you guys file this because of that $100 million podcast negotiation conversation? And he said they've been in contact with Shannon Sharpe's counsel since February, long before any announcement.
This isn't just about one individual, it touches upon a sensitive and recurring theme in public life. Commentators noted the historical context surrounding high-profile black men facing intense public suspicion when accusations arise. There's an awareness that negative tropes and stereotypes can unfortunately magnify controversies, sometimes coloring perceptions even before evidence is presented. Elements of Sharpe's persona, like his southern drawl once celebrated as part of his authentic charm, could potentially be reframed by critics through a less flattering coded lens. This adds another layer of complexity to navigating the court of public opinion. Historical parallels were drawn to other athletes and celebrities who faced similar high-stakes civil suits and sponsor fallout, reminding listeners that the path through such allegations is often fraught with unique pressures and biases. It underscored the need for equitable scrutiny, demanding that focus remain on facts and due process, rather than allowing pre-existing narratives or biases to dictate the conversation. Beyond the cultural lens, the mechanics of the legal fight reveal strategic moves designed to shape the narrative long before a verdict.
So then I said to him, well, they're also saying in Shannon Sharpe's statement that there's a video that has been altered to make it look like their or whatever is non-consensual when it's actually consensual if you show the full video.
Beneath the public drama, a complex legal chess match unfolds. Attorneys employ various tactics to gain leverage and control the flow of information. There was talk of potential non-party subpoenas targeting media companies, seeking unpublished footage or off-air conversations, a move that could turn newsrooms into evidence vaults. Both sides would likely petition for protective orders attempting to seal potentially embarrassing or prejudicial details, like sensitive texts, from public view. This creates a tension between transparency, which builds public trust, and the need to prevent leaks that could unfairly taint a jury pool or permanently damage reputations before the case concludes. Furthermore, the psychology behind potential settlements is intricate. As legal experts pointed out, parties often settle not necessarily based on admitting truth, but for logistical peace, to end the draining cycle of document requests, mounting legal fees, and constant public scrutiny.
Tony Busby said to me, he is a liar. He never even actually saw it. It wasn't even referenced or referred to in the case we filed. But now that his lawyer has breached the mediation agreement that Mr. Sharpe's counsel insisted upon, it should be known that there is indeed a video.
While practical, such resolutions can leave the public without clear answers, allowing rumors and suspicions to fester indefinitely. The digital footprint of the initial shocking allegations often proves far more durable than any later clarifications or even legal victories, casting a long shadow regardless of the ultimate outcome. This intricate legal dance, combined with the cultural weight and media frenzy, ensures that the final outcome might never fully erase the questions raised.
So then I said, well, wait, y'all mediated? Because that means that
this shit been going on. Like, he been knowing about this.
Been wanting to, like, there was possibly a settlement. Like, there's been conversations, right? Like, y'all didn't come out of nowhere.
Ultimately, the Shannon Sharpe saga is more than just another celebrity scandal. It's a mirror reflecting our current moment. It exposes the fragility of reputation in an age of instant information and algorithmic amplification. It underscores the immense power and potential danger of narrative control when serious allegations surface. We see the immediate tension between the slow, methodical pace of the legal system and the lightning-fast judgment rendered in the court of public opinion, often fueled by incomplete or biased information. How do we balance the presumption of innocence with the gravity of serious accusations? How do brands navigate risk when controversy erupts around a spokesperson? How does the public discern potential truth from weaponized rumors or strategic leaks? This story forces uncomfortable questions about consent, power dynamics, celebrity worship, and the complex ways personal history intersects with public perception during a crisis. As the legal process inches forward, overshadowed by relentless online commentary, one thing is certain: the full, unvarnished truth may remain elusive. We're left grappling with the fallout, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change and how challenging it is to find clarity amidst the noise of modern scandal. The final verdict, whenever it comes, might only be one chapter in a much longer, more complicated story.